How's it going, everybody? This is Maxwell McGee. I'm here with Stephen Reed, and today we are checking out Marvel Heroes, the upcoming free-to-play online action RPG. Stephen, in addition to those three words, or phrases rather, what more can you tell us about the game?
Well, I mean, you've kind of covered a lot of it in that basic statement. Marvel Heroes is the first Marvel MMO. We like to say the Marvel MMO that people have been waiting patiently for, because we know it's been something that a lot of people have wanted for a really long time. And it's the first time that we're aware of that a superhero MMO has allowed you to play as the Marvel Heroes.
Yeah, you're not playing as just sort of your random create a character, dude with cape.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah, I mean, it was a really important thing from the very beginning that we wanted people to actually play as these characters, because that's kind of the appeal of the Marvel Universe, right? Is these characters that you've known in some cases for 50 years. So we wanted to make sure that you got to play as them. So yeah, that was an important thing from the very beginning. It definitely. First time you get to play as the Marvel Heroes, and of course the other most important thing, of course I've died. See, this is what happens when you start talking. The other important thing, of course, is that it's an action RPG.
Yes.
So styled after the classic action RPGs that everybody is aware of. David Brevik, who was one of the founding fathers of the sort of action RPG genre, is the president and the COO of the company. So obviously we're going to make something that he
So he
likes
perhaps
to play.
knows a thing or two about the genre.
And he does know a few things about action RPGs, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the area we're in right now. Where does this take place in the game?
So we're in part of New York here. This is about midway through the game. We've come back to New York on the trail of something called the Tablet of Life and Time, which is a fairly famed artifact in the Marvel Universe. As you can tell from the title, it pretty much is all-powerful. It has the ability to kind of keep you alive and do all sorts of kind of crazy things. And the plot line has brought us here because Dr. Doom, I'm actually going to switch characters while we're talking, Dr. Doom is basically on the hunt for a bunch of artifacts throughout the Marvel Universe. And he wants to get the Tablet of Life and Time and basically destroy it, essentially, but it's kind of a spoiler. So you're on the trail of it, and you're trying to make sure that essentially nobody gets hold of this thing, because it's something that you wouldn't want anyone else to have. So yeah, that's why we're here. Although initially what we're going after is what's called an MGH factory, which is a well-known drug in the Marvel Universe, the mutant growth hormone. So we're going after that right now.
So something very important that I think we should touch on before we get too far away from it is you just swap characters.
I did.
There in the middle of what you're doing.
No
like it was no big deal.
It was no big deal. Basically, we have a hero roster, a team roster. You hit T anytime you like, as long as you're not actually actively in combat, and you can just swap between any hero that you've got in your roster. It is a free-to-play game, and there's going to be, actually, the funny thing is we're running around with two of our starter heroes here, Daredevil and Storm. Someone can actually come into the game and play as Daredevil or Storm right from the beginning, and play through the entire game actually for free if they want to. Those two characters are available to you along with three others. And then if you want to have another Marvel hero, we're going to be shipping with at least 20. You can grab them from the in-game store. Or they actually drop throughout the game as well.
They're like,
as sort of,
I imagine, extremely
drops.
rare, like item drops.
Some of them are rarer than others, but they are basically item drops on some of our boss characters. So you can get your chance to play some of these iconic Marvel characters as well. Although I'm sure there's plenty of Daredevil and Storm fans out there as well.
Now, are there any restrictions for when you're playing in a party? Like, are you guys worried about a group of people just running around as four Storms? Even though there's only technically one Storm.
Yeah, well,
as
we like to say, Dr. Doom has the Cosmic Cube in this game, and the Cosmic Cube is basically an item of ultimate power. So Cosmic Cubes can do some crazy stuff, who knows what he's done with the Cosmic Cube this time? It's causing realities to merge into one. Basically, we don't place any restrictions on there because we kind of made the decision early on that we wanted to allow people to do what they wanted. Some players like to play as an individual character, and they don't want anyone else to play that character, and that's something you can work out with the people you're playing with. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing is that being able to switch instantly between these characters means there's nothing to stop you from doing that. Like earlier on, I was playing as Cyclops, and so was somebody else in my party, so they just instantly switched to Storm. And as long as you have those characters, then you can do that anytime you like, which is pretty cool. But no, we don't have any restrictions because, for some people, playing as a bunch of the same character is actually a lot of fun. We kind of have said before that, you could run around as a full guild of Wolverines and call yourself the Bubs, or I also like to do is like, hey, why don't we all get together and play the Hulk? Because, multiple Hulks running around destroying stuff is a lot of fun. So yeah, we don't really put any restrictions on there, and if people want to create their own memorable team-ups, they can.
So there's definitely within the action RPG genre, there's sort of a set number of class archetypes that a lot of games follow. Does this game follow in path with those?
Well, we've sort of moved away from the I guess the classic MMO stuff, which is
you got your tank, your healer.
Yeah, I mean, we still sort of have similar roles to that. But we definitely don't really have healers. I mean, that's partly because of the Marvel Universe isn't really a place where you see a lot of characters just running around
tossing health potions and casting healing cells on people.
Yeah, so as I say, there aren't many healers in the Marvel Universe, so we didn't really want to put that kind of thing into the game because it wouldn't really be true to the way the Marvel Universe is. But at the same time, we've also tried to make sure that there's a variety of different kind of characters to play, and they can fulfill different roles. So it's not really going to surprise people to know that, like, a really tough, strong guy like Colossus makes, a really good tank, as does the Hulk, And then someone like Wolverine, who's obviously known for, attacking people with his claws, makes a pretty good DPS guy. But what we're trying to do with the sort of powers that we have in the game is we're trying to make sure that the characters can be a little bit diverse. So you can spec out your own Wolverine in a particular way, in a different way from somebody else. So if you decide to play your Wolverine as a guy who does a lot of damage over time and bleeds, then you can do that. If you'd rather have him as being a high single target damage guy, then you can do that too. So we want to give people that choice. We never wanted a situation where people felt that, like, the classic raid call of, like, we're looking for a level X healer to go on this raid, right? We didn't really want to have that situation where someone was forced into playing Cyclops or Colossus or any character that they weren't really a big fan of. So it's much more focused on action and allowing people to sort of just get in there and have a lot of fun. That doesn't mean that there won't be challenging content in the game. We're certainly planning to put in high-level challenging stuff, but it won't be sort of restricted by you must have Spider-Man to play this piece of content or anything like that.
So then, where does this game fall in sort of the great debate of character respecing and when you should allow it and how often you should allow it?
Oh, that's interesting. So we have the ability to respec your characters right now, both as a rare drop in the game and also as an item that you can get in the store. But we're still tweaking on this. If anyone's a comics fan, they'll understand what I mean when I say that why we called it a retcon device, which is the classic term
Very
for
appropriate.
changing a character's origin or whatever after they've already been written. We have retcon devices in the game, and they allow you to respec. So yeah, you can certainly do that if you wish. But we're still sort of tweaking on it a little bit.
So another thing I wanted to ask about was items and weapons and how they affect your character's appearance, because I know that's sort of a big appeal in other action RPGs is sort of collecting all this loot and seeing how awesome it looks on your character.
Yeah.
But at the same time, since you guys are working in this established universe, I imagine you don't want to mess with the appearance of these characters too much.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're very iconic looks that these characters have, what we wanted to do was kind of make sure that we recreated as many of those iconic looks as we could, and we're certainly planning to do many more iconic looks over time with what we call alternate costumes. So that's essentially, it's as if you're getting a full armor set in a traditional MMO in one shot,
Okay.
When you grab an alternate costume, it allows you to completely change your character's appearance. In some cases, actually, we're doing a thing called enhanced costumes, which not only change your appearance, but also are going to change your animations, potentially your voiceover, visual effects, and that kind of thing as well. So we've got a couple of examples of those in the game right now. One is the Deadpool pirate costume, where Deadpool obviously sounds a lot like a pirate, and you can imagine that's quite a lot of fun. And then there's also one which is actually currently exclusively to our Ultimate Pack, which is the Spider-Man symbiote costume, which is the classic early appearance when he acquired the symbiote. But to go back to the main point, hey, we defeated Team Stone. you will pick up alternate costumes throughout the game, and you'll also be able to buy them as microtrans. And when you equip one of those, ooh, purple. When you equip one of those, you will be able to basically change your appearance from head to toe. So I think I've actually gotten a couple of costumes on Iron Man here. So he's currently in his Avengers movie costume, but I can instantly switch across to his Silver Centurion or his classic armor.
But then you still also have like the traditional, like I see you got boots, you got a belt, all those sorts of items too.
Yeah,
they're just not affecting your appearance.
Yeah, exactly. So what we did was we decided to, from a loot perspective, we still allow you to have loot, and you can equip loot on your character. So there is very much still a strong loot game here, in that you are going to want to play the game to try and get the best loot you possibly can. It's all randomized in sort of classic action RPG fashion. But when you equip it, it doesn't immediately change your appearance. It just means that. You can have a lot more loot choices, and you can still maintain that sort of classic loot, that classic look. And every character in the game is going to ship we'll have a multitude of alternate costumes for every character in the game at launch, and then we're going to add many, many more over time. And in some cases, and it's not going to surprise people who some of these characters, Iron Man being one. They really are sort of, have had dozens and dozens of iconic looks over the years. We've just endeavored to put as many of those in as we can. Yeah, I mean, I've only really scratched the surface showing you 4 here. There's going to be many, many more of those in the end.
So then, as we saw on the character swapping screen earlier, there's also a large pool of superheroes to pick from. How do you handle leveling up all those different heroes?
So currently what happens is each of the heroes is leveled independently.
Okay.
So essentially you've got, all of these heroes are unlocked on your account, and then you go through and level them. We have experience boosts available, which are basically short-term boosts, obviously.
Yes.
And those are available to help you level up faster. And we're still kind of looking at this. We are still in beta, and we're sort of making some discussions about that stuff. So it's possible that we'll make a few modifications, but that's currently the way it works.
Okay. I mean, was there ever discussion about like having experience sharing between all the heroes and having them sort of level simultaneously?
Yeah, that's some of the stuff that we've discussed. But we've also found that there are issues with that. And for example, like before we sort of started recording today,
sure.
I had to go in and add in all my PowerPoints, sit there and kind of agonize over what I was going to put where, and we didn't necessarily want to throw that at someone who is playing the game, where they might prefer to just play out from first level. So that's kind of the way that we went, which is it's the current decision that we have, but we hopefully. Have created a game so that hopefully it's a lot of fun to play from level 1 upwards. So, we hope people will enjoy doing that.
All right, Stephen, well, as we're wrapping up here, is there anything else you'd like to add about the game?
Not really. I mean, we've sort of said a few times that, the game is obviously free to play, so hopefully people will, enjoy it. I guess one thing that we haven't mentioned very much, we're running around right now in what we call a public combat zone. This is the sort of more MMO style of gameplay, in that this can be inhabited by dozens of people. And each of the public combat zones are also randomized on a sort of regular basis. There's a kind of a complex rule set as to when things get randomized, but you still get that action RPG experience of exploring through the world and finding out where stuff is, which is a lot of fun.
So there's a bit of an AI director in the background controlling where all the enemies spawn and
exactly.
which enemy types.
And then it means that you get a bit of more of a random experience, so that you don't have that feeling of running through a zone that you've been through dozens of times and knowing exactly where everything is.
And is the game in some sort of like closed beta state right now?
We are in closed beta right now. We're actually getting closer and closer to launch, so closed beta will probably not run for much longer, but we're also going to be doing some sort of closed beta events to allow a lot of people to get into the game. So hopefully everybody will have a chance to play before launch. And we're also running this thing called the Founders Program right now, which is a way for people to get some of their favorite heroes at a discount before the game launches. We're offering some pretty crazy deals, actually. And you can pick up either a single hero with a starter pack, or you can get a premium pack with a bunch of different heroes, or you can go for the ultimate pack, which is, as I explained earlier, obviously the ultimate pack, and that gives you every hero that we're going to have in the game at launch, and every alternate costume as well, and a couple of exclusive costumes as well.
And have you guys settled on a launch date yet?
We haven't settled on a date
or
yet.
Maybe a window?
We have a window,
okay.
Which is spring 2013. So yeah, it's getting ever closer every day.
All right, Stephen, well, thank you so much for chatting with us.
No problem.
Ba-da-ba.